also as a key setup here, we'll be talking a little bit about how Starfish is thinking about space sustainability, also how we're thinking about the markets at large and kind of how we've positioned ourselves not just to be involved in the problem, but help shape the future of how we do space sustainability. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to the Otter satellite servicing vehicle. This is kind of our flagship capability and service. It is a ESPA class vehicle, which is a couple hundred kilograms, and it can go do 2 major commercial missions. One is geo life extension, and that is these big satellites that need a few extra years of life. And the other one is LEO constellation cleanup. And so this is removing old satellites out. We talked about space traffic management and some of these other aspects. Keeping those orbits clear is going to be important. And so these are the 2 things that we can start doing now, but really it's a foundation for the future here. This is autonomous interaction in orbit is really going to be a key for building this industry up. It's going to be a key for how we scale from just a few thousand satellites to 100,000 satellites. And that's part of what we're thinking about here at Starfish. A little bit about the company and sharing some background. Co-founded by myself in Austin. We came from Blue Origin prior and had some NASA mixed in there, a little bit of other locations. As part of this, we actually went and saw that Otter was a capability that could exist and build a real company off of in part of that. And so we'll touch on some of the factors there later. We were pleased to announce we raised some extra money over the past couple weeks. That brings our total to $21 million in VC funds to go and do some of these ambitious missions that we'll talk about. Have support across both government and commercial interests. A few of our partners listed there. And what I'm excited to share with you is this on-orbit docking demonstration that we have going this year. So I'll queue up that video in just a moment. But worth highlighting, none of this gets done because we start companies, as Eric, to just reiterate, it happens because the engineers that are excited, the business folks that are excited, the policy, legal, project execution, it really takes all types to make a company work here. And so appreciate you guys coming out to listen to us, hear some of our perspectives, but really know that at the end of the day, it's you that's going to shape the future here. We're just helping kind of point the way. A few other folks in the room here to call out. Really want to shout out to Alex Coltrup for helping set some of this stuff up at SGX, but also for her contributions to Starfish. You can also find Michael Madrid and Augie Collins. Michael's there, perfect, yeah, and Augie's in the back room. You can identify us by our pins if you have not already, but we'd love to chat with you more and more. And with that, let's see if is it always a second click to get the video going?
In 2011, there were 1,000 satellites orbiting Earth. And by the year 2030, it is projected there could be over 100,000. In the near future, we will live in an entirely new paradigm. Satellites can be serviced and upgraded. Space debris can be removed. And assembly and manufacturing can occur all while in orbit. For humanity to continue to build and explore off-world, an affordable robotic future is required. Introducing the Starfish Space Otter Pup Mission. Our demonstration mission is to have our Otter Pup spacecraft autonomously interact and dock with a satellite. Satellites are traveling at 7 kilometers a second, so this is a very challenging and delicate action to accomplish. But this is exactly what we plan to do. In summer 2023, Otter Pup will launch into orbit. Once deployed, Otter Pup will spring to life for its rendezvous with launcher's orbiter satellite. Our binocular vision system will track the relative position of the docking target. Safely guided by our autonomous software, Otter Pup will use electric propulsion to make its final approach. Using its electrostatic capture mechanism, Otter Pup will then dock. Otter Pup will briefly hold on to the orbiter satellite before separating and returning to a safe distance, where it will continue running tests. If we are successful, this will be the first ever satellite docking using electric propulsion and provide us with the key technologies we need to build a full-size Otter servicing vehicle. And for the first time, enable commercially viable satellite life extension and space debris removal. The future of space is starting now with the Starfish Space Otter Pup Mission.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, so just as a quick summary of this, this is headed up this year. As you can see, we've doubled down on all the nautical naming themes here. But really a notable aspect, you can see on the right, that's the real Otter Pup spacecraft that finished thermal testing. Bottom left is actually the integration of Otter Pup on top of the launcher orbiter vehicle. So coming along here, we're still set to launch this summer. What I wanted to kind of start seeding as a topic of conversation, and part of the reason why we were able to go after Starfish, is that there's a $6 billion business here to be made, and that's going to only continue to grow. There's interest in commercial, there's interest in government, there's interest in defense. All of these parties have various reasons for going after it, but it does mean that sustainability can now align with business incentives. And I think that's going to be a key for Starfish and a key for this industry at large. How do we make sure that those are actually aligned? And each one of these examples really showcase that they are aligned. NASA just recently published a report that showed the importance of some of these things. We're watching commercial companies interact with each other outside of needing to, because there is a business incentive there. And if you have not already, actually, there's an op-ed that we put out about LEO constellations that my co-founder Austin wrote and did a nice job summarizing some of our thoughts there. But all this comes down to just solving this chicken and egg problem, right? We think sustainability is going to be this challenge, we're going to have to overcome it, and yet there's not a business that can go after it, or businesses are starting to come up and build this capability now. We think that this is the sustainability leverage that we can put forward. We actually are building a business that has real missions now, real customers now, and in using that, we can, as you saw in the video, go to building things like space stations, telescopes, keeping orbits clear, recycling, manufacturing. All this comes from this feedback loop that we can kind of reinforce. And it's driven by good technology, a good business case, and the people. And that's really this loop that we can help reinforce here. And as part of it, I was told that it's good to share a little bit. It's nice to stand up here and say, here's a company that's going well, that we have a lot of promising future. It's not always a linear path to get there. It's very circuitous. You go a variety of different directions. Started off with robotics, as any good nerd would. Went off to undergrad thinking I was going to work on aircraft. And so I was doing design, build, fly. I was managing apartments on the side to help pay the way. And both of those things, surprisingly, had interests that came back to help in Starfish. But little did I know at the time. Went off to grad school. I worked on electrostatic, like basically tractor beams as part of some research there. Didn't think I would ever use that again. Finds a place here at Starfish again. And then the other thing that was really impactful was actually working on a group called the Engineering Excellence Fund, where students were empowered to spend money on the college's behalf for student learning and for student engagement. And so being able to sit with some astronauts as part of that board, actually make those decisions was pretty impactful. And ultimately led to an opportunity to go to Blue Origin, which is where I met my co-founder Austin, and start this grand journey that we call Starfish. And so with that, as Eric also pointed out, we're hiring. This is an exciting time for us. We need folks like you. We need folks that have experience. And really the blend is all going to come together here. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Feel free to catch us in the halls. And we look forward to sharing a little bit more on the panel and meeting more of you throughout the week. Thank you.